always start with the criteria. It's something that you should be looking at, not just at the beginning, but at the end. And really the first component of the criteria is about the content, about the research component. Very, very important. Quite often worth more than 25%, I'll point out to you. And we really did talk about techniques for that last week, and I'm going to touch on those quickly. But the thing I want you to be aware of is the component we're talking about today and the stuff you're doing in the tutorial this week. It's 40% plus 20% plus more. The rest of it is actually to do with the paragraph structure, the style, and that alone is really, really highly marked for this assessment. Won't be the same for your next one, but important to be aware of that. The question. Last week we did a sort of activity of breaking this down, and I'm going to show you that briefly again because it was part of how you will actually identify the keywords you need to go and search and scan and find that key information in your reading. I'm going to attach to that this week. What I think you need to be aware of is there are keywords there that help you. Help yourself to any handouts if you miss them. And this is one method that I was sharing with the group last week as a method for collecting notes and making sure, more importantly, that you are covering the whole aspect of the question. I think what's important to also realise, I had a good think about this, is that that applying component is actually quite heavily linked into the benefits. So we did a little activity of starting to skim and scan some of the reading. Most of you have been doing that, so I know you'll be looking through sources. There are 5 sources available to you. You can use 5 sources, but you only need to use 3. So really critical is to pick the 3 to work with, and this is another method that we could use for that. There are handouts of that slide if you wish to take those away with you and you didn't, you wanted to utilise that. We're all going to be at different stages of completing this task. I know there are other things due. I'm an advisor. We see everyone, not just core students. So there are things due this week, next week. So feel free to utilise that as a way of continuing your reading, but today I'm really moving beyond that reading, and some of the approaches we talked about in this recap of the first part of this skill is really first analyse the question, now collect the information you need, but do it effectively. Okay, so these were some of the things that some of the application, and I think the thing that I really focused on last week was using those keywords to help you find the information in the reading and not trying to read all of it, because really you don't need to. And today I'm going to come back to this component of don't forget to record information. Probably not so critical when you've been given these sources as you have in core, but a technique that you need to practice because you're going to need to reference them. And for your convenience, I've sort of done a little step-by-step guide for note-taking effectively, and this is something that you can apply to any assignment. So, you've done your effective reading. Well, I shouldn't say done, because really often your research is a continuous process. You go in cycles with it. But what you've started to do is collect information. You might be collecting it on on paper. You might be using something like this, which I call the evidence table or the sanity table, a way of collecting notes and dot pointing. What have I found? What do I need? Am I covering the full question? Everyone has their own method of doing that. What is really key though is this information now needs to be paraphrased, and it could be you're doing that as in note-taking. Some people don't do it that way. They sort of note-take in dot point and then they turn it into paraphrasing or summarising type sentences, but that information all needs to go inside your paragraph that you're going to create.